Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Stacey Verghese, and I'm the Director of Leadership Annual Giving and Engagement at St. John's University. Today, we have Nicole Meyer, who will continue our wellness series with the importance of proper nutrition. Some housekeeping rules before we begin. If you have a question, please submit it on the bottom right in the chat section to panelists and host, and they will be answered at the end of the presentation. In addition, a recording of today's session will be uploaded on the St. John's University's Alumni Professional Development page. Now, I'm excited to introduce our speaker. Nicole Meyer is a nutrition coach, cookbook author, and wellness personality, an expert in time management, habit consistency, and meal planning. Nicole has presented corporate workshops to executives such as UBS, Cushman & Wakefield, Kenneth Cole, Deutsche Bank, and has been featured on Dr. Oz, Pix 11, The Chew, and ABC's Eyewitness News, among other outlets, for her premier knowledge in the field of nutrition and lifestyle management. Welcome, Nicole. I will hand the webinar over to you now.
Thank you so much, Stacey. It is an absolute pleasure to be here with the St. John alumni. And again, my name is Nicole Meyer. My company is Nibbles by Nick Nutrition. I specialize in tying together meal planning and weight loss with time efficiency, habit changes for real life and real people. So let's get started. I thought we would make this workshop extremely colorful and extremely fun. So there's going to be a lot of show and tell. And what we're going to do is we're firstly going to talk about nutrition facts and, facts and foes and things that, that people are, should I or shouldn't I do this? And should I or shouldn't I eat that? Then we're going to coast on into meal planning and meal prepping. And finally, we're going to talk about the 3 p.m. snack and how critical that is because it's very underrated. So the first thing we're going to talk about is nutrition facts, as I mentioned. And number one, let's get this over with. Sugar. It is a big, big, big topic lately because many people are saying it is inflammatory. And the truth is I hate to say this, but they are right. So sugar actually is a toxin, you guys. And unfortunately, we really, really have to be careful with how much sugar we eat on a daily basis. Because in America, we are just prone to eating way too much sugar. And unfortunately, it's not even our fault. It's in so many of our foods, and we don't even realize it. So let's talk a little bit about ways to manage that and how to incorporate fruit and so forth. So let's start off talking about fruit. Now, the banana. Well, people are like, oh my God, Nick, I can't eat a banana. It's too carb heavy, da 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 da. And I'm like, guys, listen, a banana is literally one of the best foods that you can put into your body. And here is why. Forget about the fact that it's actually portable and you don't even need like a carrying case. You can bring it with you wherever you're going, which is why marathon runners are eating it all the time. People are eating it before they exercise and so forth. A banana has 14 grams of sugar, but that's natural sugars. And it also has 3 grams of fiber. So it's tempered with the fiber. Now, here's the deal. We want to eat natural sugars. And what does that mean? It means that the sugar is innately in the product. There is nothing added in. So let me give you an example of that. Take these cookies for an example. Okay, these are the Simple Milk cookies. I told you we're going to be doing a lot of show and tell, so get excited. These are the Simple Milk cookies. I love this brand because they use organic coconut sugar, buckwheat flour, organic apple cider vinegar, cashews. So again, this is a very natural brand, big favorite of mine. Now, if you look at the box, you can see over here, the total sugars is 6 grams, okay? We never, ever want to eat anything with a quantity of over, I'd say 10 grams in a serving. Okay. Now, most importantly, you want to look at the added sugars. Okay. So this cookie does have added sugar like most cookies, but it only has, again, this has 6 grams. Okay, it's an added sugar because it doesn't come naturally, right? This is cookies in general are processed. So we have to be very mindful of our cookies consumption, and we have to be very mindful of the serving. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a little trick. This is 2 cookies per serving. Now, what I like to do, instead of eating 2 cookies for a snack, and we're going to go into this a little bit later when we talk about our 3 p.m. snacks, I like to crush the cookie and actually make it a topping, okay? And I call this my crouton theory because 2 cookies, let's be honest, that goes down very fast and it takes very little time to eat. But when we break up the cookie and crush it, we're giving whatever we're eating flavor, such as our cauliflower oatmeal, discussing later, potentially a yogurt parfait. We are making the food last longer, which is almost like tricking our mind and our brain. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is organics. Is it really worth the money? Now, this is a little bit more gray. So yes, organic is worth the money, and it's plain and simple. It just has less pesticides. But there are certain things that we really need to be more mindful about buying organic, and that includes berries. And why do I say berries? Because berries are super delicate. They are very thin-skinned and they're like sponges. So they absorb those chemicals so much. An apple is another thing that we want to buy organic. Now, a banana, as we mentioned before, not as important. And why? It's pretty obvious. The skin is very thick. Those chemicals are not penetrating. So avocados, similar situation, okay? Now let's talk about eggs because that gets so confusing. Should I be eating cage-free eggs? Should I be eating pasture-raised eggs? What's the deal? And here it is. You want to try and eat the pasture-raised eggs. And it's almost like a little trick. They're trying to trick you with the cage-free and the pasture. Now, the chickens that are raised and in the pasture are free roaming chickens. But the cage-free means they have a little access to outside the cage here and there. So they're not as free and they're not as healthy as the pasture raised. So just to give you guys an example, this is a brand, Vital Farms, pasture raised eggs, okay? And most all supermarkets now are carrying the pasture raised eggs. A few more products you want to try and get organic is kale, again, very spongy. Peppers, again, if you can, those might be a little harder to find, but I do have another solution if you can't find the organic version. This is a fruit and vegetable wash. I got it right on Amazon. It's called Fit Organic. Everyone see? This is a brand that I trust, and all you have to do is spray your fruit with a little bit of this very natural solution. It cleans it in a natural way, and you rinse it with water. And definitely you can almost like see the wax coming off, and it's kind of a little gross, but this is what we, are dealing with most of the time with non-organic. So we have to, take it into our own hands and make it healthier for ourselves. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is plant-based trends. Now, everybody lately is like vegan or vegetarian or, now that's a little drastic. If you have your beliefs, and by the way, that is perfectly acceptable, perfectly fine, and all the more power to you. However, many of us now are starting to lean a little more towards plants. And why is that? Plants don't have cholesterol. It's very simple. So when we eat meat, unfortunately, even chicken, we are raising that plaque levels in our bodies to create a higher cholesterol. So while I say perfectly acceptable to eat meat, if we do, we want it to try and make it grass-fed. And again, if we can organic, that'd be lovely. But the best thing to do is just try and crowd out the meat to an extent. and incorporate more plant-based foods, tofu, beans, stuff like that. Again, very economically friendly and easy to prepare. And we're just going to get a lot of great fiber and good stuff. So not telling you not to eat meat, but I'm telling you to just everything, please, in moderation. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is dairy. People lately have been saying to me, Nick, dairy's the devil. Now, dairy is not the devil. Dairy actually can be very healthy for us. The thing is, we want to make sure that we get the right type of dairy into our bodies. And what does that mean? Again, if we can find organic and hormone-free, all the more power to us, right? Here are some dairy foods that I personally love and I tell all of my clients to enjoy. Number one is yogurt. But as you remember before, there's a little something we have to watch. Yogurt can be very high in sugar. And that's a problem because that's not something that we really need to have high in sugar, right? We can add a little bit of honey or a drop of maple syrup, and we're going to get enough sweetness. We don't need all that added sugars. So I'm a big fan here. This is the Chobani Zero Sugar. Okay. And not much artificialness in here, just a good, healthy yogurt. I also like the Siggy's brand, if any of you have heard of that. But again, you don't have to get fancy, don't have to, it really just want you to make sure that your yogurt has no added sugar again. And if you can get it organic or, hormone-free, great. Kefir. Another very much talked about food. And let me tell you, kefir is wonderful for you because it is a probiotic. And what's a probiotic? A probiotic is something that is extremely healthy for our gut and helps with our digestion. So again, you just have to watch for the added sugar. You might hear me say that a lot of times during this presentation, but it is very critical. So this particular kefir does have 8 grams of added sugar. So what do? I take some plain yogurt and I drizzle on some of the kefir. Again, it's the crouton theory. It's sprinkling on whatever may have something in it that's not as good for us and spreading it around. Because just because something has some sugar or this, it still could have benefits. We just have to be mindful of that sneaky added sugar. Another dairy product that I love is just some hard cheese. Now, why do we say hard cheese? Because it's dense, and that means that it has more calcium in it than a softer cheese. So again, we don't need to shy away from cheese. We need to look at the package, look at the labeling, and make sure that we are eating the proper serving. Okay? And again, not cutting off hunks and hunks, but cutting it very small and making it into that crouton theory and sprinkling it around. Okay? The next thing is ricotta cheese. That is shown to actually lower our blood pressure. And again, yes, it's a soft cheese, but being mindful of the serving size and putting a little bit into whether it's our vegetable pasta or into a vegetable-based soup. There are great things that we can do with ricotta cheese. Okay, and I saved kind of the best for last in this topic because it's just a very, very spoken about topic over the past 30 years, and that is carbs make us gain weight. Now, I can't see you guys, but raise your hand to yourself if you always skip the bun. I'm just picturing a lot of hands. Here's the deal, guys. That bun, that's not going to hurt you, okay? I see some hands. That's very cute. That bun is not going to hurt you. Do I recommend scooping out the bun? Sure. Do I recommend eating half the bun? Sure. But a hamburger with a bun, what's better than that, right? we just have to remember that it's also the meat that we want to watch. We want to make sure that we have the right serving size, okay? Whether that's 6 ounces of meat and a 100-calorie bun, and maybe you scoop that out, what are we left with? We're left with 75 calories of bun, and we're going to be so happy eating that hamburger. So carbs do not have to be eliminated. Oftentimes we say, you know what? Rather than having to deal with how much of I should be eating, we just eliminate the whole food. And that's not something that is we can go forward with in life all the time. That's very difficult. But learning portion control and little tips and tricks is a lifelong way to handle our diet. Okay. Now, what are some other carbs that I particularly love? And I, again, speak about to my clients. Sweet potatoes. Oh my God, you guys, they are so good for you. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in our preparation session. But they're delicious. You can use sweet potatoes as a vessel for and Stacey and I were talking about this before with rice cakes, but we can use sweet potatoes as a vessel for our entire meal, whether it's Taco Tuesday and you want to use that as your shell. They are great for our skin. They have beta carotene. They are delicious, and they digest slowly. So they're not one of those white floury carbs that's going to go through us like this. They are a wonderful superfood. So sweet potatoes, brown rice, another good one. And we were just talking about brown rice cakes, Stacey and I. Oatmeal, another wonderful carb. And we're going to talk more about cauliflower oats, one of my 3 p.m. snacks. But yeah, these foods, guys, we don't have to eliminate them. Not only do we not want to eliminate them, we want to learn how to enjoy them every single day. But again, it just takes habits, meal preparation, and really thinking about what is good for our body. Now, let's remember something. When we spoke, I don't want to forget this is a very important fact. One man's food could be another man's poison. So just because Jim can eat dairy doesn't mean that Joan can, right? Some of us have limitations. And speaking of dairy, 70% of us do have some type of sensitivity to dairy. That doesn't mean you should stop eating it. It means that you have to be mindful. Some of us get phlegmy, others of us have to go to the bathroom more often. And again, it's just learning about our bodies and learning what we digest well and what takes like a little bit longer or needs a little more nurturing. Okay. So does anybody have any questions in the chat about any of this topic about nutrition and whole foods or sugar or dairy or organics? And feel free to ask at the end as well. But before we move on to our next topic, which is meal prepping, I just want to know if anyone had any questions. Okay, so save it for later. Here's the next topic. This is my favorite topic to talk about because, again, it is not spoken about enough. How can we, as busy people, be successful with our weight management and our diets if we don't know how to meal plan, right? That is just a critical thing. And that's why I love talking about it, because it's not spoken about enough. So let's start with meal planning itself. Now, I tell people, Nick, when should I meal plan? I know everyone says to do it on the weekend, on the mornings, this. I have clients that like to meal plan on a Friday night. I have clients that like to meal plan on a Monday morning before work. Now, I am never going to tell you what to do because we are all different. We all have different schedules. But what I am going to tell you to do is to carve out the time to meal plan and meal prep. It is so critical for, again, our stress, for our weight, and just for, hold on. Sorry, I'm back. For our weight, and in general, just so important for our sanity, okay? So I want you to be realistic, and I want you to think of a plan that works for you. Okay. Speaking of consistency, something that I suggest with dinners is to have each night be a specific theme. And what do I mean by that? Maybe Monday is meatless Mondays. So that's the night we're just not going to do meat. We're going to do tofu. We're going to do a bean stew. We're going to do something that doesn't incorporate meat. And this narrows our entire plan down and makes it so much more doable. Okay. Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. But tacos every Tuesday could get a little boring. So maybe we're going to do fajitas. Maybe we'll do chili. But when you keep into that theme, it saves the stress. The family, if we have family, they get to be on board with this also, right? So that's a really fun thing to do. Sushi Sundays, frozen food Fridays, where we just dump everything onto a tray or in the air fryer. Have fun with it. Doesn't have to be serious, and of course, it doesn't have to be rigid, but it's just something to outline and make a template with, okay? Now, I myself love to do as much as I can in the early morning for that day. And why is that? Because who knows what's going to happen with the day, right? Our baby could be throwing a tantrum at 5 o'clock. Our 14-year-old might need a ride to soccer practice last minute. There are interruptions. If we can get 90% done in the morning of our dinner for that night, and I'm not talking about chopping and even stuff like that. I'm talking about even setting the table, laying out all the pots and pans, and hopefully there aren't too many. Because remember, dinner, 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock when we get home from work or our day is done, should not be about cooking dinner. It should be about assembling dinner. Okay? That's a very, very crucial fact. So again, I like to do as much as I can in the morning. I just think it makes more sense, and it is one of those things where some people like to exercise in the morning and get it over with. Again, I'd actually like to meal plan and get my dinner out of the way first before I even exercise, just to show how much less stress it creates. Okay, so clean, prep, and cook more veggies than you ever need. And I am talking about whenever you have the opportunity to what's called batch cook or batch prep, I want you guys to do as much as you can at a time, because it's going to probably get eaten. And if it's not going to get eaten, you can probably freeze it, right? Casseroles, chilies, soups, sauces. If you can double it, do it. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about with this planning to cook is thinking about ways to incorporate different types of, let's say, pastas and different things that you can make in advance. Okay, so here's another little show and tell. This is Palmini Pasta. And why do I love this? Because it's all it is hearts of palm. So when we talk about trying to have a combination of 10 fruits and vegetables a day, here's one right there. This is delicious. It has tons of fiber. It has 20 calories per serving, and the bag only has 3 servings. So this is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way to incorporate that feeling of eating pasta. Now, something you can do if it's a little bitter for you is you could mix in some red lentil pasta. And then we're getting our beans and our protein. So we don't even have to worry about adding chicken or something on top, because you're getting it with the red lentil pasta. And you could find that at most supermarkets right now. Just remember, guys, that the lentil pasta, you want to make sure it's pure lentil. You don't want any type of added flours. You can find actual lentil pasta, okay? Another one is black soybean pasta. And they also make edamame pasta, banza, which is chickpea pasta. All these pastas are wonderful. You can prepare them in advance. What I like to do if I'm preparing pasta in advance is put it in a container that has a very tight fitting lid like this. And if you want, you can put a little bit of olive oil, just a drop to keep it lubricated. Okay. Okay. Just going to change my sheet for 1 second. Okay. The next thing, guys, we're going to talk about our pantry staples. Pantry staples. Okay, I love this topic because it's just fun to talk about like different things that I keep in my closet all the time. Number one is broth. Now, broth is, I'm not even going to show it to you because I know what I know you all know what broth is like. But broth is a wonderful liquid that actually flavors and elevates our foods. So if we are making chicken or we're making some type of stew or whatever we're making, broth oftentimes substituted instead of water just gives it that much more punch of flavor. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is flour. And flour, there's so many different types of flour now, guys, that I love because we don't have to use that white flour anymore. So this is almond flour. And almond flour, well, while it has a higher fat content because it is made of almonds, it is a lower carbohydrate. So there's only 3 grams of carbs in almond flour. So what I like to do is if I'm making muffins or cookies, oftentimes I will use almond flour and I'll do a ratio of oat flour, which, hold on, bear with me. I think I have some here to show you. So this is oat flour. And it's that gold medal brand that we all know and love. And this is more, again, of a carby flour, but it's the good carbs, the ones that digest slowly. And when you mix these 2 flours together in baking, it's really, really delicious. It's a healthy blend. Okay. Now, let me tell you one more thing. When I'm dusting like a chicken or something, or sometimes if I'm making tofu and it needs a little bit of that like locked in flavor when you dust it, I will use oat flour. So this is a great all-purpose flour that really works well when we're cooking or we're baking, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is beans. And again, beans are a wonderful, wonderful thing to have in our cupboard, whether they're chickpeas or pinto or black beans. I just want you to, if they're canned, I want to make sure that you rinse them and you get off all that extra starch and salt, if there is salt, okay? But again, keeping them in one of these containers. I right now myself have some chickpeas in the fridge. I sprinkle them on salads. You can pop them in the oven and roast them with a little olive oil and cumin and paprika and turmeric and make them like spicy-ish. It's like a great healthy crouton, okay? So beans are fabulous, okay? Now, olive oil, another one that I love talking about. So olive oil is tricky because everyone says, have olive oil, have olive oil, have olive oil. Now, not every olive oil is the same, okay? So there's something I want you to think about. See these olives? Just pitted green olives, right? Olive oil really shouldn't be so clear and yellow. I want you to look when you can for a greenish tinted olive oil. Okay? And that means it will have many more healthy benefits that we hear about. Now, again, olive oil, if you have the choice and you're going to get the generic brand over canola oil or vegetable oil, please have the olive oil. But if you can find a somewhat of a greenish olive oil, it's going to have more potent health benefits. Okay? A little food for thought. So we spoke about pasta, tomato sauce. I always have that in my cupboard as well. Now again, be mindful of the sugar. Who thinks that tomato sauce has or needs added sugar? Guess what, guys? It doesn't. Okay? Please, please, please. There's plenty of brands out there that don't have added sugar and you don't need it. Seasonings. What seasoning should we have? I always like to talk about seasoning blends, right? So Italian seasoning blends that have parsley and oregano and basil. Typically when a recipe calls for one, it calls for the other. So you might as well get the bang for your buck and buy the blend. Okay. Trader Joe's makes some great garlic seasoning. It's a blend of different onion and garlic. So again, if you can find those blends, and typically if a recipe just says garlic powder, you can put in that blend anyway, and it'll be just as delicious, if not more delicious, because it will just have a little more flavor. Okay. Sweeteners, we spoke a little bit about that. Now, again, sugar we know is a toxin, so we want to try and avoid that. If we like the texture of sugar, I would recommend coconut sugar. And my favorite of all, well, I like maple syrup too, but I am a huge, huge honey fan. Now, funny enough, honey is actually like wine. It gets aged, the colors, depending on the color, there's a lot more about honey. I once took a honey course, so this is how I know it. But we hear a lot about Manuka honey. Okay, now this is what we call one of the best honeys on the planet. It is extremely potent. It has great antibacterial features in it. It's a probiotic. So every single day I have my honey, and I'll talk about that a little bit more, but I have sourdough bread. I put on my natural nut butter, remember, without the added sugar. I put on my berries. I put on some cinnamon, which is also a great antioxidant and great for your digestion. Okay, so this honey is another one of my favorites. It's not Manuka, but it's called local hive honey. And this also is a very natural honey. What I don't want you buying is the bear. We all know what I'm talking about when I say the bear. He is not our friend. He's not real. Okay, so no bear. Okay, so I think we have about like 8 more minutes. I am going to talk about the 3 p.m. snack, okay? Because again, it's one of my favorite topics to talk about. And frankly, it's not spoken about enough, okay? I recently went to a tennis camp and we played tennis for like, I want to say 5-6 hours a day. And after tennis, it was 3-4 o'clock and there was no snack. I'm like, what? How are we supposed to survive until dinner? Right? It's crazy. Lunch is at 12-1 o'clock in our day, typically. Dinner, 6-7, oftentimes 8. There's no way we should be able to last that long. And on top of the fact, I don't want you to try to, and I'll tell you why. Because what happens is if you wait that long, you will overindulge and it will be too late of an hour for that. Okay? I'd rather see you eating a lighter dinner. You know the saying, breakfast like a king, lunch like a queen, and dinner like a pauper. Now, that's not entirely how we do things, particularly in America. But I want you to think about that when we eat very late, the calories oftentimes are sitting. So we want to try and eat a little bit less at night than we're used to. And if we can, take a walk after dinner. Get that food moving, get the digestion going, okay? I actually just posted on my Nibbles by Nick site about walking and why it literally is probably one of the best things that we can do to manage our weight. And I'm not talking about once a day. I'm talking about trying to get it 2 to 3 times a day in a walk if you can, even if it's 10 minutes, just getting outside, the fresh air, the heart going, okay? That's for another topic. So let's talk about 3 p.m. snacks. Cauliflower oats. Now, this is mine for the day, and I put it in a disposable cup. Maybe one day we'll have to do another workshop on how to make this. But it's so easy. So it's riced cauliflower, frozen, just defrosted. And then I put in some quick oats. I use plant-based milk. You can use regular milk or you can use water. And I put in either a honey, again, we love our honey, or date syrup, a little date syrup to give it some sweetness. Sometimes I'll even add in a little flax or chia seed. Okay? So that's the cauliflower oat. Now, what did we talk about before? Our healthy cookie that we're using as a crouton. We're crumbling that cookie on top, making you feel like, oh, I'm eating a cookie. But the beauty is this cup lasts you all afternoon. You can even take a bite after lunch because it's already made. So you get that sweet dessert after lunch. Have another half of it during the 3-4 o'clock hour. And then if you're starving right before dinner, have your last bite. So in other words, milk the 3 p.m. snack. It doesn't have to be consumed all at once. If you want to, go for it. But you know in the back of your head mentally that you have that snack ready and waiting for you. Okay? Roasted veggies and guacamole, another wonderful, wonderful 3 p.m. snack. And let me tell you guys, vegetables don't have to just be for dinner. If you make vegetables, a sheet pan of roasted vegetables on the weekend, and you want to put some of that in one of our containers and bring it to work or nosh on it, at home, a little ready-made guacamole. You don't have to make the guacamole. You could even put a little hummus on top. Another great snack. Vegetable chips. Speaking of veggies, now I want you, the Rhythm brand makes a great vegetable chip. And if there's nothing really added to it. So I don't want you buying those veggie sticks that have the potato starch and the this and the that, and the ingredients list is from here to here. Very few ingredients in your veggie chips, guys. Promise me, like 3 ingredients tops. Okay? Stacy and I were talking about rice cakes with peanut butter, or some crackers. A good cracker like a Mary's, or a cracker that has whole grains in it, flax seeds, chia seeds. Okay, I want that all in the first few ingredients. And again, with the rice cakes, you can be creative. You can do your almond butter, you can do peanut butter, drizzle of honey, some fruit. You can put a tablespoon or 2 of hummus on top with some tomato. Be creative. Rice cakes are a great platform. The brown rice cakes or the low salted rice cakes, but I'd prefer not to see you with the caramel or the ones that are too sweet. Again, added sugar. And yogurt, right? Our yogurt is phenomenal. Where's my yogurt? The Chobani that I just showed you. Where did you go? Oh, here it is. Cup of yogurt, some berries, maybe, I have a good one. Some diced up apple in the air fryer. How good is that? With a little bit of maple syrup and cinnamon and sugar. Great for the fall that's coming up. So you can make a parfait or, another great 3 p.m. snack that has protein, the right amount of carbohydrates. And again, you don't have to eat it all at once. And I think that about wraps it up. I just wanted to show you one more thing because I did forget, and this is such a critical topic, is bread. When I spoke before about my sourdough, I always like to get a bread, either a sourdough or a rye or a pumpernickel that is as fresh as can be. Okay? So that is really it as far as our nutrition facts and our meal planning and our 3 p.m. snack that I really hope will navigate you guys on a road to success and energy and just being happy and enjoying your food and your life. So that's about it. Thank you so much for having me, and I adored being with you guys. I think Stacy was asked if there's any questions.
Yes, I see some coming in. The first one is, can you have 1 sweet potato a day?
The answer is yes. Now, let me just clarify one thing. Sweet potatoes come in many shapes and sizes, just like many things we know, right? Even this banana. This is a big banana, right? This apple, this is a kind of a big apple. Just be mindful. In other words, don't have a sweet potato this big, but a small sweet potato every day is perfectly healthy, and it's a great carbohydrate source. So absolutely.
Is Greek yogurt really better than the rest?
You know, it's funny. I was just reading an article. So the difference is that Greek yogurt is, it's much thicker and it's much creamier. And it has a lot more calcium because it's dense. But regular yogurt, if you just want to get plain yogurt, has more probiotics. It's a little bit thinner, sort of like a kefir. So either yogurt, again, I'm happy with, I'm fine with. I just, again, the sugar is what I always suggest to really be mindful of. But either Greek or plain, go for it. And again, switch it up. I always say to people, rotate, kind of like we want to also rotate different vegetables and fruits and um, vitamins. Even you want to rotate your vitamins, you want to rotate things in your body because that's how you maximize all of the benefits best.
You didn't mention anything about protein bars. What is your take on that for breakfast or 3 p.m. snack?
So I love certain ones. I love the RX bars. I like the IQ bars. I don't like the bars that have a bazillion ingredients in them. Okay, I don't love soy isolates. So again, you want to eat a Quest bar, that's like probably one that's in the middle to me. It's certainly fine in an emergency. I recommend carrying one in your car, excuse me, having one in your car or in your pocketbook at all times, just because I'd rather see you eat again, not a crazy one with tons of sugar, but I'd rather see you grab that than a Snickers, right? It's all perspective. So protein bars are okay, but to me, a small RX bar isn't as satisfying. It's a very dense way of eating, right? So in other words, you're gonna eat that bar and be done in 2 seconds. So for me, I'd prefer to have my 2 pieces of small sourdough with my nut butter, have a knife and a fork. But sometimes we just don't have the time for that. Okay. So if you're gonna eat a protein bar, again, I would choose the RX or the IQ brand.
Can you help people individually who need help organizing their meal planning and nutrition with little time to spare?
Absolutely. Yes, that's what I specialize in. So I work with clients one-on-one for their individual needs. I have a 6-month program, and there's more on that on my site, www.nibblesbynick.com. And you can also reach me on pretty much any social media outlet, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn as Nicole Meyer, Instagram Nibbles by Nick. But yeah, I help people all the time, and I absolutely love it.
What is the best way to reach you?
The best way to reach me, I'd say, is by email at nibblesbynick@gmail.com. There's a lawnmower in the background, so nibblesbynick@gmail.com. One of the working at home things right now, I guess. But you can also, again, DM me on Instagram or go on my site and there's a contact form, and I'd be more than happy to have a consultation with you guys. It would be absolutely free of charge and see if we're a right fit. But yeah, I help people all the time, and I just absolutely love working with clients on nutrition and weight loss, and and real ways to tackle it.
And oh, I see some more coming in. What is your opinion on a protein shake?
So again, it really depends what's going in there. I have clients that love a protein shake, and you know what? Again, to each his own, right? I just don't like seeing too many supplements in there. I think that when there's too much going on, it confuses the body. Okay. And it does more, sometimes it does a little more harm than good. So I'd really have to dissect it. And that's what we do. We work, my clients and I work all the time on what foods, and, I speak recipes with them because I'm also a cook, and, I have a cookbook and everything. But yeah, I would have to dissect it and see. But if it's more or less the standard like milk product or alternative milk product, you have some type of good protein in there. There's a lot of protein powders out there. You have to be careful and ask somebody you trust about what exactly is in them. And of course, berries and, you know, a little flaxseed or chia I'm happy with. But again, I'd have to really know what's in the shake.
What about carrots and celery as snacks? What are some other good fruits?
I love carrots and I love celery, so great question. I would just suggest having a protein with a little bit of fat to dip that into, so that way you are feeling more satisfied and it will hold you longer until dinner or until lunch when you're eating the snack. So don't laugh, but I do still like dipping carrots and celery in nut butter. Try it if you haven't. It's really delicious. Guacamole, hummus. You could also make, what some of my clients, I tell them to do is make a Greek yogurt dip. So you can take like a Greek yogurt, you know, low fat, and add in different seasonings, onion powder and garlic powder, a little salt and pepper, and really, you know, make it almost like a ranch dip. So again, that way you're getting that satiated feeling, and that's what our goal is. Okay, we don't want to just mindlessly munch. We want to really fill up. Okay. Oh, and what are some other bell peppers? I love cucumbers, radishes, whatever's in season. A is going to be freshest, is going to have the most vitamins and the least pesticides usually. So I suggest, you know, really sticking to what's in season.
How can you see the olive oil in the bottle?
I'm sorry.
How can you see the olive oil in the bottle?
Well, this one, that's a good question. This one I happen to know is a greenish tint, but you're gonna have to really, I guess, try. This is the Mina brand, which I love. It's a Greek olive oil. So I can verify this brand. I love it. I found it in random supermarkets. I found it online, and you can go on their site. So again, that's trial and error a little bit. If you can't, unfortunately, I would hate for you to waste your money. But if you can, you know, if you can like buy one and see, and you know, that's probably the best way.
What is a supplement to sugar in your coffee? If sugar is toxic, then consider me poison because I put a lot, 2 to 3 in my coffee.
Okay. So again, you're not poison. 2 to 3, I don't know what that means. Again, it comes down to the size factor, right? Like the banana or the potato. Are you putting in 3 big tablespoons of heaping sugar, or are you putting in 3 packets? That's much different. The 3 packets, or 2 to 3 packets, is going to be a lot less than the big heaping tablespoons. We just want to be honest with ourselves about that. But what do I like instead? I like a very natural stevia. You can put a little agave, or you can try a little bit of coconut sugar. Again, that's just a healthier sugar for you and better for your blood sugar levels.
And finally, what rice brand is healthier to get?
Um, I mean, again, like I would say pretty much anything that doesn't have too much added sodium and salt. You know, listen, we love rice-a-roni, a San Francisco treat. That's amazing, but we just know that that's not, you know, a good product, and that's extremely, extremely high in sodium. So I'm okay with the Uncle Ben's, and I'm okay with, you know, any rice, particularly. I wouldn't say I favor a brand of rice so much. It's almost like sugar. It's you know, it's a commodity of what, just the packaging. So I don't think necessarily that one rice is better than the other. I would just say stick to, you know, that one ingredient, that no added sodium if possible. And I personally, I like the Trader Joe's frozen rice packets. They're brown, they're delicious, and the best part is they come out sticky. So, you know, nothing's worse than rice that's like not really sticky in my opinion, but this is like sticky and delicious. So, Trader Joe's frozen brown rice is great.
Great. I think you got through all the questions. Do you have any last thoughts to share?
I just, I hope everybody really just takes a look at their individual needs and I'm happy to help anybody navigate that. We're all, like I said, we're all different. We all have individual habits and allergies and things, whether it's gluten or lactose. So really, really just start to learn your body and yourself. And that all ties in with your weight loss and your health and your skin and everything else. It really, everything really does manifest from the gut and what we put into our bodies. So it is crucial to really to take a look at that and get a handle on that. And again, happy to help you, anybody.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today, and a special thank you to Nicole for such an informative presentation. For Nicole's complete bio, please go to stjohns.edu/APD series. Next week, our wellness series concludes with the focus on mental health. I hope you'll join us next week, Thursday at 11 a.m. Have a great day, everyone.